On this episode of Searchers, we're talking about balls. Like, not balls, projectiles, like round balls. Just see.
That's a round ball. You can see the casting mark.
So I popped the plug and I could see what's in the bottom of the hole. Check it out. I mean, I'm surprised. It's a little round ball.
Oh, and these guys show up as well.
We're in Pennsylvania. I got roundness in the hole.
On Searchers, we combine myth and history to find the truth.
Okay, so as you know, Searchers is all about history. And we've been doing this for a while now, and we've pulled some pretty interesting stuff out of the ground. A lot of it has been projectile related. Cases, bullets, balls, you name it, we found it. And so what we're going to talk about today is all the projectiles we've found.
Really, the real reason is because we just want to show off our collection of guns.
No, this is true.
Because we've been shooting guns a lot longer than we've been metal
Yeah, we've been
detecting.
detecting, what, a couple of years?
Well, I've been a little longer than you.
Yeah. Well, we've been buying guns for 30 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got a few.
You'll see some of them today.
Yeah.
All right. You know, there's something that, well, at least I think a few of us, or at least maybe I have found a lot of.
Just be careful.
Yeah.
Most of the cartridges are loaded, and I have a gun that fits them.
I mean, I've been blessed with finding a bunch of round balls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, about everywhere we go, I'm finding them.
I have to admit, I'm jealous. That's the one
yeah.
thing that I haven't found yet. I've beat you on everything else but the round
Yeah,
balls.
I know. And I wish I found more nails like you, but I don't get them. But so we haven't found a lot, and the first set that I want to talk about are these ones right here, because again, we found them out at a local park, and they were found sort of in a linear pattern right along the top of a hill. So I think they're being lost all at the same time.
I got a nice little kind of mid-tone. It's ringing in at 12, which could be a nickel or something like that. So, you know, let's dig a few of those and see what it is. So I popped the plug and I could see what's in the bottom of the hole. Check it out. I mean, I'm surprised. It's a little round ball. I mean, look at that. Not a nickel, but a round ball. Now, interesting, I found a few others up here too, all along this little like a little ridge up here coming through the park. You know, it definitely has the patina on it to be, you know, older. I don't think this is something that's lost in the last 50 years. Could be 100.
They're all probably upper 40 caliber size, but they may have been 50. You know, it's tough to say. But I think you have something there. One of your guns is a rifle, right?
It is, this one. This is the classic Pennsylvania long rifle. This one's 54. It's what they call a Lancaster pattern. Pennsylvania had what they called schools of rifles. You could tell where the rifle was made by the basic shape of the stock, the type of lock that it used. We've all heard the term lock, stock, and barrel. This is where it came from. This is the lock, this is the stock, this is the barrel. It was a basic gun back then. It didn't necessarily have a butt plate on it, didn't have thimbles on it.
Now, you know, I've heard, were Pennsylvania rifles a little smaller in caliber as opposed to, let's say, a Virginia rifle?
They were. Well, let me back up on that. Yes and no.
From a certain time.
Depends on the time period.
Yeah.
The earlier the gun, the larger the caliber, because you were hunting something that was hunting you.
Something else that at least one of us has found.
He who shall not be named.
That's not allowed to detect with us anymore.
Exactly.
It stays right back there where it is right now.
That's where he should be.
Exactly. Is lead shot. Now,
Hey, Rich, you got to come over and take a look at this. Another one.
What do you?
Look at all this.
What do you got?
You got lots of balls. I got all these like jittery hits. I really didn't know what I was gonna get, and I start pulling out all this lead. So, I mean, I think it's buckshot.
Well, yes and no. That's not all buckshot. These larger ones are buckshot.
Well, there's more in here. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at that one.
Okay, this one
Yeah.
is called drop shot. Sometimes mistakenly called swan shot. Swan shot's actually an actual size of shot in the 18th and 19th century.
Okay.
Kind of like we have double-aught buck and then we have number 4 buck and stuff. But that's homemade.
Homemade.
Yeah, homemade. What they do is they
basically take the molten lead and they pour it from a height,
Yeah.
and then it drops into the water and cools obviously immediately.
Huh.
But because a real shot tower is like 200 feet tall,
Okay.
and by the time the shot falls through 200 feet, it's perfectly spherical.
Okay.
This isn't falling that far, so you got a tail on the end of it.
Okay.
So that tells me it's homemade. There's a couple of them in here that actually they're not perfectly round.
Well, look at this. I mean, this one's flat. That just came out. I mean,
Yeah, that one didn't drop far enough.
no. I mean, and there's more.
Oh, these are sweet.
Now, lead shot can come from, modern day firearms,
Right.
shotguns, even older shotguns. We're talking about the paper cartridges, and even back into fouling shotguns, where they're using a black powder load, or out of even something like this.
Pick it up!
Which is, I will pick it up. I'm doing it right now.
Because you think you're annoying behind the damn camera.
Exactly. She yells at it all the time. Don't do it fast enough. This here is an officer's fusel. Okay.
Boy, that's really well made.
It is. The guy that did it
had
did some really
great
good
hands.
finish.
He used to have good eyes
Amazing.
too.
Look at that. But it could have. You could shoot shot out of these as well as anything else. Any kind of smooth barrel flintlock. So yeah, you do find it at times. It is a very small find, but Clay found a whole pouch of it. It seemed. Which
When we
interesting.
think
in
of clay,
itself.
we think of little balls.
CLBs. Yeah. CLBs.
Believe it or not, I have something that goes hand in hand
Really?
with Clay's little balls.
Really?
Yeah. Check this out. Okay, this is the one that we found at the crematory.
Up at the crematory, yeah.
It's got those neat 3 little dents in it. Okay.
Which are just
Let
about
me steal
Sure.
Clay's balls here. Oops, let me drop Clay's balls.
And they fit.
3 little dents. This was part of a buck and ball load.
All right, I think I got something here. On this detector, sometimes when you hit lead, it bounces between low iron and pull tabs and garbage. So that's what this is doing right here. So I got to dig this and see what I got. Pinpointer found a shovel. Whoa! Whoa! Yeah, it's lead. That's a round ball. You can see the casting mark. The molds that were used on these were a scissors mold. And that's where the 2 halves of the mold came together. And boy, that is nice.
Used in the Revolutionary War, used up through the Civil War, devastatingly effective.
And we do have
Yeah, we do have. We got to show this because this just
a great.
this just makes me drool. This is a bit of a rarity. I'm happy to say the Historical Society has not 1 but 2 of these. This is a 42 Springfield, 1842 Springfield. It was the last smoothbore marshaled firearm used by the military. Civil War period, obviously. Yes, these were used in the Civil War. It is very large bore, 69 caliber, and they were notorious for using these with the buck and ball load because it had such a big hole in the end. When I say these are rare, a lot of these were converted over to rifle barrels during the Civil War because they wanted to use the mini balls with them. I don't think I'd want to fire one of these things with the mini ball in it. You'd probably lose short-term memory.
Oh, yeah.
This thing would kick like a mule. But this is one sweet piece of history here.
The last one I want to talk about is a really special find that we have. And there's only 2 that I know of in the county now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first one was actually found by a couple buddies of ours.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to have them talk about that find. And you can see that right now.
Speaking of projectiles, one of the most awesome ones ever found during the American Revolution was actually found 200 years later by
KG.
KG.
That's right. I mean, they were being attacked by over 100 Indians, the settlers were. In fact, they fired so many musket balls that they had to melt down their pewter silverware and make musket balls. Guess who found one of them musket balls?
KG, not Ringy.
One of the last shots fired during the Revolution.
Yeah, that's
KG
true.
Plucks.
Think about that. One of the very last shots during the American Revolution was actually found by KG. That's a pretty incredible thing. Not worth a lot of money, but you know what? It's priceless as far as
Historical
history
value?
goes. Brian and Clay know about that. Brian and Clay know about that kind of stuff. Historical value. Think about that. The good old US of A was being formed as that thing was shot.
Hey,
Huh?
I love Brian and Clay.
I like Brian and Clay too. They're 2 handsome men, and they really know what they do.
Yeah, they're pretty good at what they do.
They're pretty
not
good
great,
at what they do.
but you know,
Fair to mid.
they're good. All right, well, let's go. We got to catch a plane to Europe.
KG
So,
and Ringy out,
see ya.
live and raw.
What? Did they film that on a flip phone in the airport?
Yeah. First off, KG, Ringy, thank you very much for the submission. Please buy some new equipment.
Yeah.
And you know, I can deal with KG and Ringy finding one. It was a myth. Not even so much a myth, but a legend. They've been written about in books. It was a last-ditch thing when the Indians were attacking. The wives would melt down the pewter tableware so they could keep making balls for their husbands to fire their rifles. So, props to KG and Ringy for finding one. But you.
Hey, you know, some of us know how to work their detector.
So I'm up here at the Washington County Frontier History Center, you know, working along this little ridge line up here. We're right up above where the blockhouse and fort is. But you know what? I've been finding some round balls along this ridge. I found about 4 or 5 already. I got another, you know, same kind of reading. You know, there's really nothing out here. It's like that 12, sometimes spikes to a 13 on my Equinox 800. But it's a small, yeah, it's small. It's probably another round ball, so let's check it out. All right, so I got some of the dirt out of here. Nope. Right there. It's in the bottom. I don't want to go after it if it's another round ball. Hey, look, yeah, it is. Well, I don't know. Gotta check this out a little closer. You know, it's definitely a round ball, but you know what? I mean, check this out. I think I might have something a little special here. I mean, look at the difference of those two right there. That's definitely lead. You know what? I think I might actually have a pewter round ball. I mean, if that's what it is, I'll have to clean a little bit more, but I mean, look at it. There's only been one other found in Washington County that I know of.
You know, what's interesting about a pewter round ball, you know, pewter is made up of just not lead, it's other things.
It's
I think
lead
there's
and
tin
tin.
and stuff. So that is something that is harder. It's not going to, you know, as lead is going to hit, it's going to mushroom out,
Right.
split apart, whatever you want to do, you know, what do you want to say? Actually, some people have said that the pewter round balls would actually shatter almost like glass. They break up more. So, you know, finding this is probably more emblematic of being a drop instead of something being fired. Which a lot of these too, they don't look like they've been fired. To me, they look like they've been drops.
No.
Except
A couple of them actually look like this one here. Just
that one there looks like it's gotten.
yeah, that looks
shot.
like somebody chewed on it
Yeah,
or it
that
was
one
a
there
bad
actually,
mold.
you know, it's tough to tell if that's from the smack of the rammer or if it's just where the sprue was. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, but amazingly, there's only been 2 found in the region, really in the county and within the greater region that I know of. And I was there for both of them.
Pardon me for 1 second.
But it's still, I mean, amazing that we actually have recovered something like that, because they're rare.
They're legendary.
Yeah, they are. They're, I mean, and both of them now to be found in Washington County, a pretty special thing.